They say the first million is the hardest, and when I started my real estate journey, I had no roadmap, no connections, and barely enough savings to make a down payment on anything. But I knew one thing: I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to build something that could last, something that could work for me even while I slept. If you're watching this, you might be wondering, is it still possible to make $1 million in real estate today? Do you need a trust fund or a rich family to get started? I'm here to tell you absolutely not. I started with almost nothing, and by the time I turned 30, I had crossed that $1 million mark. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. But if you follow the right strategies, stay consistent, and make smart decisions, you can do it too. So, how did I go from zero to $1 million in real estate? Let me break it down. The early days. Why real estate? Before I ever invested in my first property, I had to make an important decision. What was my path to wealth? I explored different options: stocks, starting a business, side hustles, but something about real estate kept pulling me in. I realized that unlike stocks, real estate gave me more control. I could buy an undervalued property, fix it up, and increase its value. I could collect rental income while the property appreciated. And if I played my cards right, I could build long-term wealth that didn't depend on daily market fluctuations. So, I made a commitment. Real estate would be my vehicle to financial success. The first deal, getting my foot in the door. The hardest part was getting started. I didn't have a ton of money saved up, so I had to get creative. I started researching different ways to buy property with low money down: loans, seller financing, house hacking. Then, I found a small duplex in an up-and-coming neighborhood. It wasn't perfect, but it had potential. The price was reasonable, and it needed only minor repairs. I ran the numbers over and over, making sure it was a solid investment. I took the leap. I got an FA loan, which allowed me to put just 3.5% down. I moved into one unit and rented out the other. The rent from my tenant covered most of my mortgage, which meant I was essentially living for free. That was my first taste of the power of real estate. Scaling up, the snowball effect. Once I had that first property, I didn't stop. The goal was to scale up. I refinanced the duplex after a year, pulled out some equity, and used that money to buy another property, a triplex. This time, I didn't move in. I rented out all 3 units, and the cash flow was even better. With each property, I followed a simple formula. Find undervalued properties in growing neighborhoods, fix them up to increase their value, use leverage to buy more properties. Over the next few years, I repeated this process. I used different financing strategies: conventional loans, private lenders, even partnerships to keep growing. Each property added more rental income and more equity. Flipping for faster growth. Buying rental properties was great for long-term wealth, but I wanted to speed things up. That's when I started flipping. I found distressed properties, bought them at a discount, renovated them, and sold them for a profit. The key was buying at the right price. I spent hours researching neighborhoods, looking for foreclosures, off-market deals, and motivated sellers. The first flip wasn't easy. The renovation went over budget, and it took longer to sell than I expected. But when I finally sold it, I made a $40,000 profit. I reinvested that money into another flip, and then another. Over time, I got better. I built a team of contractors, realtors, and lenders who helped me move faster. Some flips made $30,000, some made $70,000. The profits added up, and soon I was doing multiple deals a year, leveraging the power of partnerships. One of the biggest lessons I learned was that I didn't have to do everything alone. I started partnering with other investors, people who had money but didn't have the time or experience to find deals. I would find the deals, manage the renovations, and handle the sales. In return, they would provide the funding, and we'd split the profits. This allowed me to scale even faster. Instead of waiting months to save up for the next deal, I could keep going without using my own money. The $1 million milestone. By the time I turned 30, I did the math. I had officially crossed $1 million in net worth. It wasn't just from rental income or flipping profits. It was a combination of property appreciation. The homes I bought years ago had increased in value. Rental cash flow. My properties were generating passive income every month. Equity from flips. The profits I reinvested had grown into more properties. But here's the thing: hitting $1 million didn't mean I was done. It was just the beginning. The lessons I learned along the way. Looking back, I realized there were a few key things that made all the difference. Taking action even when I wasn't ready. If I had waited for the perfect moment, I would have never started. My first deal wasn't perfect, but it got me in the game, using up other people's money. Learning how to leverage bank loans, partnerships, and seller financing allowed me to grow much faster than if I relied on just my own savings. Focusing on cash flow, not just appreciation, buying properties that made money every month gave me financial security even when the market slowed down. Always learning and adapting. Real estate is constantly changing. I stayed ahead by reading books, listening to podcasts, and networking with successful investors. Building relationships, the right mentors, contractors, and lenders made all the difference. Relationships are everything in this business. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't have insider connections. I made a ton of mistakes along the way, but I kept going, and I kept learning. If I could go from 0 to $1 million in real estate, so can you.